Didn't want to create a podcast just to say I have a podcast. I didn't want this to be another content channel where I show up, give a few motivational lines, say build your brand, and then disappear. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Paid to Know. I'm Ricka Raga, and since this is the first episode, I want to use this time to properly introduce the show, what this space is going to be, why I created it, and what you can expect from me moving forward. I've been thinking about this for a while because I didn't want to create a podcast just to say I have a podcast. I didn't want this to be another content channel where I show up, give a few motivational lines, say build your brand, and then disappear. I wanted this to become a real space for the conversations I wish more people were having about business, creativity, clients, money, growth, systems, visibility, and the very expensive lessons we usually learn behind the scenes. If you already know me, you probably know that a lot of my work started in design, branding, and websites. For years, I was known as a creative. I built brands, designed websites, created visual systems, worked with clients, launched offers, fixed messy online presences, and helped businesses look more professional. And honestly, I still love that part of the work. I love beautiful brands. I love strong visuals. I love when a business finally looks like the level it wants to play in. But over time, I realized something that completely changed the way I saw my work. A business can look beautiful and still be invisible. A website can look expensive and still not convert. A brand can have great photos, great colors, great fonts, and still not be trusted enough for someone to book, buy, inquire, or come back. And that was the shift for me. I stopped seeing branding as just the way a business looks, and I started seeing it as the way people behave around a business. Do they remember you? Do they understand what you do? Do they trust you? Do they know why you are different? Do they feel guided? Do they know what to do next? Does your business follow up with them when they are not ready yet? Does your system support the attention you are getting? Or are you constantly starting from zero every month, posting, chasing, replying, explaining, and hoping the next inquiry becomes a client? And that is a big part of why I created Paid to Know. Because the more I worked with founders, creatives, service providers, clinics, restaurants, consultants, and growing businesses, the more I realized that most people do not just have a marketing problem. A lot of them have a structure problem, they have a clarity problem, they have a follow-up problem, they have a founder dependency problem, they have a we are getting attention, but we do not know how to turn that attention into actual revenue problem. And honestly, I have lived versions of that too. I've made pricing mistakes. I've taken clients I should have said no to. I've over-explained my value. I've undercharged for things that took years of experience to know how to do. I've confused being helpful with overgiving. I've learned that not every opportunity is an opportunity. Some opportunities are just expensive distractions wearing nice shoes. And some lessons only become clear after they cost you something. That is why the show is called Paid to Know. Because some lessons come from books, courses, webinars, mentors, and resources, but some lessons come from experience. Some lessons come from the people who paid you. Some come from the people who didn't. Some come from the client who made you rewrite your contract. Some come from the project that looked exciting but slowly drained you. Some come from the moment you finally looked at your numbers and realized your business was busy but not actually healthy. I want this podcast to be a place where we can talk about those lessons honestly. Not in a bitter way, not in a victim way, but in a useful way. I want to talk about what business really teaches you when you are paying attention. The patterns, the red flags, the decisions, the systems, the emotional side of growth, the way success changes your relationships, the way visibility exposes you, the way money reveals your beliefs, the way clients can teach you boundaries faster than any self-help book ever could. This podcast is not just for designers. It is not just for marketers. It is not just for people who are already experts. It is for founders, creatives, consultants, service providers, freelancers, agency owners, and business owners who are building something real and want to understand the deeper mechanics behind why some businesses grow, why some stay stuck, and why talent alone is not enough. because talent is not the whole business. Talent is part of it, but talent without structure can become exhausting. Talent without boundaries can become resentment. Talent without visibility can become frustration. Talent without systems can become a business that only works when you are over-functioning. And I think a lot of people need to hear that, especially people who are good at what they do but feel like they are still carrying too much manually. So in this space, we are going to talk about the real things. Talk about branding, but not just the aesthetic side of branding. Talk about what makes a brand memorable, trusted, and chosen. We are going to talk about marketing, but not just content ideas and posting schedules. Talk about how marketing connects to sales, follow-up, authority, positioning, and the customer journey. About websites, but not just whether they look pretty. About whether they actually guide people to take action. We are also going to talk about the personal side of building something. Because business is emotional. It brings up your fears, your confidence, your ego, your money stories, your need to be liked, your fear of being misunderstood, and your capacity to hold success without shrinking. People love to talk about strategy, but they do not always talk about how much identity work is involved in becoming the person who can actually hold the business they say they want. And I want this to feel conversational. I do not want every episode to feel like a class or a formal training. Sometimes it will be strategic, sometimes it will be personal. Sometimes it will feel like a business audit. Sometimes it will feel like a story. Sometimes it might feel like a voice note from a friend who loves you, but will still tell you when your business is being held together by vibes, Canva folders, and unanswered leads. To make this space feel more intentional, there will be different kinds of episodes on Paid to Know. The first type of episode is what I'm calling Let's Talk About It. These are the episodes where I'll unpack a specific business, branding, marketing, or client lesson. We might talk about pricing, positioning, red flags, visibility, authority, content that does not convert, why a beautiful brand can still be invisible, why more leads do not always mean more money, or why some clients cost more than they pay. These episodes are where I get to sit down with one topic and really break down what I've learned from experience. The second type of episode is Behind the Brand. These episodes will be about what actually happens behind the scenes of brand, marketing, and systems work. Not just the polished final result, not just the website screenshot, not just the pretty logo or the case study. I want to talk about what the real business problem was, what was not working, what needed to be rebuilt, what the founder could not see yet, what systems were missing, what messaging had to change, and what actually helped people trust, inquire, book, or buy. I think there is so much value in understanding the thinking behind the work, not just looking at the output. The third type of episode is Paid Lessons. These are the episodes where I'll talk about the expensive lessons, the ones I paid for with time, money, stress, confusion, overgiving, undercharging, or trusting the wrong situation for too long. These might be client stories, business mistakes, awkward moments, lessons from contracts, lessons from failed expectations, or moments where I realized I needed stronger boundaries. I don't want to share these stories just for drama. I want to share them because a lot of wisdom comes from being able to look back and say, okay, that taught me something. The fourth type of episode is the system check. These episodes are for the business owners who are tired of running everything from memory, emotion, and manual effort. We'll talk about sales processes, lead follow-up, websites, email nurture, automations, client journeys, offers, content pipelines, and the back-end structure that makes a business more sustainable. Because I really believe a business that only works when you are constantly available is not freedom. It might look like entrepreneurship, but it can easily become a prettier cage. The fifth type of episode is Authority Notes. These episodes will be about visibility, reputation, thought leadership, content, press, personal brand, and becoming known for something bigger than just your service. I believe best known beats best. Not because quality does not matter, but because being excellent in private does not build a business. People need to know what you stand for. They need to understand your value. They need to hear your point of view often enough to trust it. Authority is not about being loud for no reason. It is about becoming clear, memorable, useful, and hard to replace. The sixth type of episode is Ask Ricka. These will be episodes where I answer real questions from listeners about business, branding, clients, pricing, positioning, marketing, systems, creative work, growth, and the weird emotional side of building something you actually care about. I want this podcast to feel like a conversation, not just me talking into the void. So eventually, I want to bring your questions into the show and use them as a starting point for deeper, honest conversations. And the seventh type of episode is Paid Conversations. These will be guest episodes, but I want to be very clear about the energy of them. I do not want guests to come on just to pitch a course, sell an offer, or turn the conversation into a webinar. That is not the point of this space. I want these conversations to feel more like two people sitting down and telling the truth about what it actually took to build, leave, rebuild, survive, grow, or become known for something. I want to bring in recovering designers, creatives, founders, business owners, consultants, service providers, and people who have lived through the messy middle of building something real. Some guests might be creatives who are no longer trying to survive on taste alone. Some might be designers who realize they did not just want to make pretty things forever. Some might be founders who had to rebuild their systems because the business became too dependent on them. Some might be business owners who learned the hard way that visibility without structure can create more chaos, not more freedom. I want these episodes to be honest, useful, and pitch-free. Of course, I want people to know who my guests are and what they do, but the purpose is not to sell you something at the end. The purpose is to have real conversations about the lessons behind their work, their mistakes, their pivots, their standards, their pricing, their burnout, their boundaries, and the things they had to unlearn to become better at what they do. Because I do not believe we only learn from experts when they are presenting their polished frameworks. Sometimes we learn more when people are simply telling the truth about what happened, what changed them, what humbled them, and what they would never do again. So Paid Conversations will be exactly that. Thoughtful, honest conversations with people who have been paid to know something, lose something, build something, or become someone. So that is the world of Paid to Know. Some episodes will be practical, some will be reflective, some will probably be a little uncomfortable in the best way because the truth usually is. But my goal is that every episode gives you something you can use. A new way to think, a pattern to notice, a mistake to avoid, a system to fix, a boundary to strengthen, a question to ask yourself before you keep building the same way and hoping it feels different. If you're here because you're building a business, rebuilding your identity, trying to become more visible, learning how to trust your own voice, or realizing that your talent needs structure around it, then I think you are in the right place. Paid to Know is where we talk about the lessons behind the invoice, the story behind the strategy, the pattern behind the problem, and the truth behind the brand. It is where the expensive lessons finally become useful. Thank you for being here at the beginning. I'm excited for this space and I'm excited for the conversations we are going to have. I'm Ricka Raga and this is Paid to Know.